The Seahawks are going to have to come out and play with their hair on fire if they want to beat this LA Rams team. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner. And despite the Seahawks being the favorite, right? Most experts are picking the Seahawks. Most of your friends, your family members are picking the Seahawks to win this trilogy. And obviously they can win this trilogy against the Rams. That doesn't mean that they're going to be able to walk in and just come away with a victory. The Seahawks have to be on their P's and Q's, make sure every T is crossed, every I is dotted if they're going to come away with this W that I know that they can. Before we get into my keys to victory, though, I need to let you know about this sweet deal going on. The Mob Mentality shirts. The link is going to be in the comment section and the description. All you got to do, click that link. You can get this Mob Mentality shirt. We've got the black. We've got the navy. It's sweet, great design with some Seahawks on there. It is a fantastic deal. If you get an opportunity, go in. Very affordable t-shirt. It'll be the talk of the town. What are your keys to victory for the Seahawks before we get into mine? What do you think that the Seahawks need to do to get the victory? While you're down in that comment section, you might as well leave me one of those notes or two. When I get ready to script out these types of videos, when I get ready to plan for my keys to victory, I do like to look at what Seahawk fans are saying on other sites, on other message boards. So let me know what you think down below in our comment section. My first key to victory for the Seahawks in this game, they are going to have to find a way to keep Sam Darnold upright. It is important to note, it is important to know that obviously Darnold is not at 100%, and he's frankly just not going to be for the rest of this postseason. When you have a core injury, it takes time to heal, and the only way for it to heal is by resting. Sam can't do that right now. Head coach Mike Macdonald had this to say about the plan that the Seahawks clearly had for Sam Darnold to make sure he was as healthy as possible. He's not going to be a full go the whole week, so he's going to show up as a limited participant is what Macdonald is saying there. So we have a plan. We're going to work through it, see how the day goes, and then we'll kind of take it day by day and take it to tomorrow. This 100% makes sense to me. In fact, there was never a point where I was nervous, where I was worried about what was going to happen or what was going to become of Darnold. When you look at this type of injury and the recovery process to it, it just takes rest. And you don't have time to really rest during the week. So whatever rest or extra time off you can give Darnold, he needs to take, and he needs to take advantage of the mental reps. When you look at how he performed in the last game, I was actually very impressed. Yes, he was clearly moving a little bit stiffer than he normally would be. Yes, he was clearly a little bit more hampered, not able to run as many play-action passes as usual, but still super high completion percentage, still ripped the ball when he needed to get that touchdown to JSN. I thought that Darnold had one of his better performances because he also didn't turn the football over. The next thing that's important to look at with Darnold and him being upright is this offensive line unit. Charles Cross obviously dealing with his many ailments right now is kind of the big question mark, but if he's able to go, this is what your offensive line is going to look like. I do expect Cross to go, and this O-line has to do a fantastic job and has to continue to do an excellent job like they've been doing of not letting opposing teams get to our quarterback. Darnold cannot take extra hits. It's a football game, so guess what? Sometimes you get banged up. Sometimes you get scraped up. Sometimes you get nicked up. It just is what it is. But we can't have a lapse in blocking scheme. We can't have a lapse in judgment here where Darnold takes extra hits, because any wrong smack to Darnold's midsection could lead to him being done. And then we'd have to go to Drew Lock. And Drew Lock is a very capable backup, but we also haven't seen Drew Lock a whole lot this year. And I'd like to not rely on our backup in the NFC Championship game. Help us catch Knicks now here over on Chat Sports. We are closing in on becoming the 11th biggest channel here at Chat Sports. Right now, we are the 12th, which is pretty fitting, I would say. But hit that sub button. We're going to have you covered for all your Seahawks news and notes in the year of 2026. Hit that sub button. Help us catch Knicks now. Run the ball is my next key to victory for this Seahawks team. One, because it's going to keep the ball away from probable MVP winner Matthew Stafford. But more importantly, it's going to keep that Rams defense on the field. We are going to have to lean on Kenneth Walker more than we ever have before. This is going to be the first time where Kenneth Walker this whole year is the main back, the feature back. He's all by himself. It is time for Kenneth Walker, a guy who is in a contract year. He will be a free agent at the end of this season. It is time for him to make himself some cash. It is time for him to make the most of this opportunity. And I think that he can because we saw him do it last week. When you look at the stat line for Kenneth Walker against the 49ers, he had more carries than he'd had basically the entire year. He had more yards, his average was higher, and he had more touchdowns than he had in any single game. Kenneth Walker can be a main back. He can be a feature back, and he's going to have to because we don't have Zach Charbonnet anymore. Now, there's going to be a multitude of other running backs that are going to get opportunities, that are going to get some shine, and we've gone into them on the channel this week in the lead up to this game. But Kenneth Walker is going to have to be the main back. Kenneth Walker is going to have to put this ground game on his back if he wants to be able to help push this team to a W, push this team to a victory. Running the football is going to be the difference between this team winning the game and not winning the game. And I fully, 100% believe that he will be able to do so. I think that Kenneth Walker is going to be the X factor for this Seahawks team, and Kenneth Walker is going to be able to help push this team forward to a victory. The ground game has never been better. Kenneth Walker has never been better with the Seahawks. He looks like he did his rookie year all over again. He knows where the hole is. He knows where it's about to open up, and he continues to find it. Kenneth Walker will be the X factor. Who's going to be your X factor? Let me know down below in the comment section. I like to hear your opinion. I already am going to hear your keys to victory. You might as well let me know who your key to victory or your X factor for this one is. I already saw someone earlier, a couple videos ago, say that the X factor for them was Rashid Shaheed. Not a bad pull. Not a bad pull. We're going to get into some more keys to victory for this Seattle Seahawks team and this squad. But before we do that, I need to let you know about the proud sponsor of today's video, and that, of course, is our good friends over at Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Find your community on Prize Picks with the new social feeds feature. You can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. New feature alert! Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. I have a 2-pick power play for what's going on this weekend. Cooper Kupp, more on his receiving yards. Matthew Stafford, less on his pass yards. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. My next key to victory for the Seahawks squad, you got to get pressure on Matthew Stafford. Stafford, I cannot believe that I'm going to say this, has kind of looked more mortal in the postseason than what he looked like in the regular season. What do I mean by that? Look at his playoff stats. His completion percentage is drastically lower than it's been before. He's turned the football over. That's something that he wasn't doing in the regular season. You're seeing that touchdown number. It's only at 3. That was something that he was doing at a high rate all stinking year long. Right now, when you look at Matthew Stafford, he is clearly, wrong stat, he has clearly taken a step back. He is not as far along as he had been in previous years. So what I would say right now, and what's most important right now for this team, is to find a way to get pressure on Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has not been sacked yet this season by the Seattle Seahawks. 2 games, a team that is getting a ton of pressure, have not been able to get there. So what's going to need to happen? This defense has to get after him and make him uncomfortable. When you look at the different defensive groups, I'm not going to call a lot on the linebackers or call a lot on the safeties or corners because Devin Witherspoon definitely throws in some blitzes as well. I'm not going to call on those groups to make sure that they get pressure on Matthew Stafford in this game. I'm going to call on the horses, the big dogs, the guys that Mike Macdonald calls on every single week to get that pressure that's needed. Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed have got to be able to force pressure on Stafford up the middle. What we've seen all year long is that when this trio can get into the backfield, opposing quarterbacks do not feel comfortable. Matthew Stafford obviously does a great job of getting the football out of his hands extremely quickly. What this squad can do is get after him quicker. When we look at the edges, DeMarcus Lawrence and Uchenna Nwosu, and in a lesser sense, Boye Mafe and Derek Hall, have got to find a way to win on the edges. Right now, this Seahawks team has been built on getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks with the front 4. They are going to have to be able to do that again in this game because that is what Mike Macdonald wants to do. The dark side has to finally get to Matthew Stafford. Finally, this defense that has been so good and so elite and has shown up in the biggest moments has to get pressure on Stafford. Whether it's Leonard Williams lining up on the inside or on the outside like he's apt to do. Whether it's Byron Murphy up the middle. Whether it's DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu, insert other pass rusher here. They have to get to Stafford just by rushing 4. They've shown that they can do it against every other team. Now do it against this Rams squad because this Rams squad, their O-line, is going to be at the best that they've ever been. The last key to victory, it's us. It is us. It will always be us. The 12s have to be at the top of their performance. The 12s have to be loud. It has to be rocking. Right now, Seattle, since basically ever, it's 12 games in a row. We have not lost when there have been fans in Lumen Field at home. The Seahawks don't do it. Why? Because the Seahawks fans, the Seahawks faithful, the 12s, it's a loud environment. It's an aggressive environment. It's an environment that other teams do not feel comfortable playing in. It has to be loud when the Rams have the football so Matthew Stafford cannot make his checks or his adjustments. It has to be quiet so that Sam Darnold can make those same checks and adjustments against this Rams team. It is going to be electric at Lumen Field, and I'm jealous that I can't be there, and everyone who else can't be there, make sure that you're there with us here on Seahawks Today. But the 12s can get the victory. I know it by just being loud and by being proud. Here's my final score prediction for this game. I think you've seen it a couple times throughout the week, and I'm really not wavering. I'm staying true. I'm staying strong. Seahawks are going to come away with the victory, 28-24. I think it's going to be a last-second victory for the Seahawks, and I don't know if it's the defense that's going to get the stop, a la Richard Sherman, or if it's going to be the offense that gets the score, a la Russell Wilson to Jermaine Kearse. But I know that the Seahawks team is going to come away with the victory. Thank you guys so much for viewing the video today. Really appreciate it. Make sure that you come on in and hit that sub button. We got you covered throughout the 2026 playoffs for the Seahawks, but more importantly, we got you covered throughout the 2026 off season as well. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and I'll catch you guys next time.